We are going to present on a topic called the damn black box. We first want to thank the sponsors because of whom this event is happening. Thank you everybody for the sponsorship. Thank you to the SUGCON committee for organizing the event. Thank you for the media team and all who are supporting the event for all of us. I am Varun Shringarpure. I am a 7-time Sitecore Technology MVP. I was born in Sitecore 16 years ago, which means some of my code bases are legally allowed to vote now. I am also a co-founder of Sitecore User Group India, a host of a podcast called Sitecore Tech Talks, and a father of 2 lovely daughters, and a lifelong learner. And with me, my partner today is Girish Jain.
Hello everyone, myself Girish Jain, and I am a 3-time Sitecore Strategy MVP, enterprise DAM consultant, helping clients get more of their DAM implementations. I blog all my experiences from personal and professional life, and I love traveling, exploring new places. It was a nice Friday evening. It was raining, and it was probably same time. I had plans for the evening, but then I received an email, a high priority email from a client. What? Like few of the images on the website, which are very critical, which have high engagement over there, images are broken, and it needs to be fixed immediately, and we need to know why did this happen. So yes, with the experience, like we were able to do it. But again, once we have experienced it, but then we need to identify the root cause and what could be done so that it doesn't get repeated again. So what usually happens? So in Content Hub, you upload the images, you generate the public links via the connector, it is referenced in the pages, then it is used in the components, and the AI experience is built. But then, in case, if you want to identify it, you cannot. So during a recent rebrand, a global insurance company needed 6 weeks to just replace public links. Like there were certain images that needed to be retired, changed, change in the message being delivered. But then again, they had to spend 6 weeks just to identify the images and replace. And like in our previous session, we were discussing about content migration, and we wanted to save time. But again, once we are saving there, but then are we spending time to just maintain your sites? So that is not reasonable. So this is what happens when you retire your images without understanding like where are they being used in the upstream platforms. No warning, no audit trail, no idea. Like you do not see any message or anything like, okay, this message is being referenced or used, and have caution before deleting it. And once it is deleted, what you see? 404, an image not found. And it's not just the image failing, it's a broken experience. So it impacts your brand. It impacts your customer's experience, the trust that they have in you. So today, like there are certain reporting capabilities that we have, like we get the asset views, like how the asset is being viewed, the geography where the assets, from where the assets are being accessed, the devices, browsers, the health, like are the public links accessible, what is the time that it takes for the image to load. But again, the only thing that is missing is where are we using our images in the CMS.
So technically, public links, which are the best way of sharing images across, but there is no way of identifying where are they being used. This is a great business challenge. Do you all agree? And hence it becomes a great technical opportunity. So when we look at Content Hub, there is something called indicators in Content Hub. So we can configure an indicator in Content Hub which looks at the asset usage, and if it is not empty, which means if it is initialized, if it is used somewhere, that parameter is having some value. Based on this, in the assets listing page, you should be able to identify that a particular image is being used somewhere, but still it's a black box. Somewhere, but where? Let's consider a website with, say, 100,000 pages. There is an asset, as Girish mentioned, it needs to be retired. Assets need to be retired, right? Like you're doing a rebranding. So you want to understand that, okay, these 100 images, I want to now retire and get a new set of images into the system. But to track those, to identify which those images are, where they are being used, is a mammoth task. This will definitely give you the instruction or information that it is being used. But where? That is the biggest question. So Girish and I, we took up this challenge and we thought of something like a DAM asset tracker in Sitecore Marketplace. What it does is it connects with the Sitecore AI tenant. Any tenant has multiple websites, so we were just focusing on a given tenant. Once you connect to a tenant, you can scan the websites in that particular tenant and then select one of the websites and say check for what is being used from DAM. It will give us the links of Content Hub assets in pages and components, and it can also give us an Excel file. So think about it, that reporting is good enough from a marketing app perspective, but it has to be a step forward. The same team who is currently working in a Sitecore AI system, in Sitecore portal, might not be the same team working on Content Hub. Like there is a design team, they might not require to go to a portal. So from that perspective, we also have an Excel file which can be shared with the team. It could be a content team, it could be a specific asset management team who only have access to the Content Hub, and then they can look at that Excel file and deal with those specific assets and think about how to retire them. So let's look at both these things in action. What I have here is I have logged into the portal and I hope it still remembers me. So I'm going to refresh this as well as I'm going to refresh Content Hub. We will first look at the first use case, which is to identify if a given image is being used somewhere or not based on its usage. So we have a number of test images here. I'll just scroll through, and here is one of the images which I find. It says used in Sitecore AI. Girish, can you take us through on how do we really configure this in Content Hub so that anybody here can configure this and make sure that they are aware of how to do this?
Yeah, sure. So just to make a point, so this indicator is visible only when you if you try to insert a link into your component or your CMS via the connector. In case if you try to just copy the link and directly enter it, this indicator will be of no use. So you need to follow the process of adding it via the connector. Now, in order to configure this indicator, you will need to go to the component level pages. Over here, you will have to search for the pages title. Then you will have to search for the assets page, the page where we want to configure the indicator. Yeah, over there. And like the assets page, so most of the things that we see on the assets page is via the search component. So we'll open the search component. And the view that we were seeing was the grid view. So we'll go into the grid view. And on the last tab, we have the indicators. So these are the indicators that we have. And over here, if you go to the last indicator used in Sitecore AI, so over here we have given the label, the color, and over here we have given this condition as asset to usage is not empty. So this field is automatically populated. As I mentioned, when you try to insert a public link into your component via connector, so this field gets automatically populated. And once it is populated, this indicator starts appearing on your website, or sorry, on your thumbnail.
So great. One part of the job is done. We know that there are assets which are being utilized. Now, let's look at it from the marketplace app perspective. So over here, we have the DAM asset tracker. I'll quickly fire it up. I have currently installed it in one of our projects. I'll select a tenant called developers and I'll say load sites. You see, everything else was currently hidden, but now the scan tab has appeared or is enabled. What I'll do is I'll select one website here and I'll say run the scan. Right? So the results have appeared. What we have as results is where these assets have been used. There are pages with assets, there are unique assets being used, there are components using these assets, so on and so forth. And below, we have a table with all the details. So here is the website, here is the page, the component, the public link of the asset, and the status of that asset. What I'll quickly do is I'll say download this Excel file. And I'll open the Excel file for all of us to view. And so we have the component name and page name as a taxonomy also added for a separate reason. But we will go to m.asset, and over here we will have the details of that specific asset. How can we uniquely identify any asset? By an asset ID. So let's check if it works. I will copy this ID. I'll go back to the assets listing page and I'll say ID equal to this particular ID. And here I have the image loaded. It has the indicator saying it is being used in Sitecore AI. Let's have one more level of verification. So that particular asset that we had was the Apple MacBook, I believe. So what we will do is we will go to this particular page and I'll first go in the content editor. What was the page name? Apple MacBook Pro Max. So Apple MacBook Pro Max. And on a similar level, we have the page available, Apple MacBook Pro Max, which is the component that is being used. It is called site product detail. So I'll go to the data folder. And we have the image. So it's a validation that the ID that we used searched it in the assets page and came back and saw that yes, it is being used. Which means if we now change this image or remove this image and then again do the same scan, this ID should not come in this particular page. We can also, of course, I showed you from content editor, but it can also be seen from the page builder, wherein this particular image that we have is being used here. All right. I'll quickly switch back.
Yeah. So the reason for having the taxonomy information also in the Excel is like in case if you want to just import it, you could see all the details on your asset detail page as well, and that would make it more friendly for you. So now what you'll achieve with this, prevent broken experiences before you ship. So before you make any modifications, any changes, you know, like, okay, where the modifications needs to be done. Govern your Sitecore Content Hub DAM with real visibility, like you know what are the downstream, where on the downstream channels your assets are actually being used, and protect brand image and consistency. Like as I mentioned, like having a broken image on your main homepage or the page which has maximum engagement is not good for your brand, and this approach could save you. So with this approach, like real life use cases like retiring certain images, rebranding, or let's say if you have certain assets that you have purchased and the licensing information, the license is getting expired for those images. So in such cases, it makes it easy for you, saves time, and makes the updates that needs to be done easy. Because with this quick change every time, so update is inevitable. And when update is inevitable, you need to know like where it is being used.
So how can this app be repurposed? This app, our thought process is, so based on our overall discussions, more than 70% of our clients have faced the issue of identifying the usage, and understanding where it is being tracked is a major pain. So how this app can be repurposed is you can install this app. First of all, you can install the connector. So whoever is working in DAM knows it very, very clearly that I cannot delete this asset. But when we need to retire the asset, that is when this particular app can scan your website. If you have multi-sites, you can scan multiple websites. You can create multiple such Excel files and share with the team, and eventually identify a given asset where all it is being used, remove those or update those links, and then scan it again to confirm that it is not used anywhere. Again, when it is being removed from everywhere, the indicator in Content Hub will also say the same. So it's a handshake. Even if there are two SaaS products, two different products, there is a handshake between the two. And eventually, you'll be able to protect your brand and consistency, because you don't just retire and get new assets. You make sure that there is complete continuity between the old brand and the new brand.
And just one last point to add, like let's say if you want to play safe and you could be like, I will update it only on the pages that I see and I'll keep the images as is in Content Hub. So Content Hub is a dance system. It is your single source of truth. It contains only the images that you need to use. And in case like if you still play safe, it will just bloat your system. You will be in the same place where you are like with the existing folder structures, where you have duplicate images, unnecessary images, and you do not know. So this is also important from an basic fundamental criteria for having a DAM.